Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Paul, and in this RedGamingTech.com video, I want to discuss with you console failure rates for the next generation. The PS5 is, well, just a couple of days ago it launched in the US. We're still waiting for it to launch in the UK. The Xbox was released on the 10th, but there are reports that both consoles are having problems. Insomniac Games have already responded to complaints that Spider-Man is causing the PS5 to crash, and well, we assume it's the game itself. I mean, it could be something to do with the OS and the way that the game itself is kind of speaking with it, API related, but I think it's much more likely to be the game itself as Insomniac's state. It doesn't seem to be a hardware problem, but there are definitely some reports of the PlayStation 5 crashing and or having hardware issues. The same for the Xbox as well. Microsoft are investigating some of the stuff. Now, some is definitely fake. For example, we saw the Xbox Series X with like smoke coming out of it, which obviously was just, well, someone vaping and blowing the smoke inside the system, which ironically is going to cause issues with the Xbox in the long run. We've also seen some videos of the PlayStation 5 having graphics corruption, but I'm not convinced it's legit, honestly. Some of it looks not quite what you would expect based on how a PC GPU crashes, but regardless, it's very hard to argue that there are problems on both consoles. And I am getting a lot of people asking, what should they do? They've got a pre-order. Should they just hold off? Should they be worried? Should they take out maybe, the extra warranty on their product? You can get like a couple of extra years or something like that. And my personal opinion at this point is that it's way too early to know if there's a problem. I remember when I got a Sega Saturn as a kid, and first couple of days, I was really young, and I remember the first couple of days the system was rock solid, no problems at all. Virtua Fighter, Virtual Cop, anything would just run. But after a couple of days, the system just would not turn on correctly. It would every so often. If the moon aligned right, it would turn on, but most of the time it would just have this blinking light. My mum and dad had to send it back or take it back to the shop, whatever, and they got a replacement. And the second unit, I don't know if it was the first unit that was repaired, honestly, but either way, the replacement worked perfectly. And I remember much later on in life, I googled it, and it seemed to be a problem with early launch Saturns, especially in the EU. Now, I also had the problem with Xbox 360. And I was playing through Alan Wake. I remember I was sick as a dog. I was really sick. And I was so happy because I had a really nasty flu. And I was playing through Alan Wake and I was like, thank you for giving me something to do. And you guessed it, the Xbox died. It RROD'd. And those two things were hardware failures. Red Ring of Death was because of the way that the Xbox 360 was constructed. With the X-clamp, it was putting too much pressure on the PCB. And with the Sega Saturn, allegedly, what my cursory Googling brought up anyway, there were problems with like the power board or something like that on the Sega Saturn. Anyway, doesn't matter. The fact is that previous generations of hardware have had problems. Sony, Microsoft, like the original PlayStation had the laser issues, if you remember, or overheating, and people turned the bloody system upside down or put like a bottle of milk on it or something like that. And something like Insomniac Games, it does seem to be software related, and if it is software related, that can be patched. Hardware related problems, though, it's way too early to know whether we should or should not be concerned. Now, if it's me, I would say don't worry, get the console, just play it, and if it obviously goes wrong in the first year, well, depends on the region of the world, how long you are covered, but in general it's a year, you've got it covered, no problem. If it's software related, it's much easier to fix, assuming it doesn't brick the system, which is an entirely different question. Some people are reporting that a system have basically turned into a paperweight, which obviously sucks. So far, I'm not seeing any evidence that the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series consoles have major hardware problems, and I do suspect that we will see a 1-2% failure rate for both the PlayStation 5 as well as the Xbox Series X/X, because that's very typical with hardware, with anything technical. And you've got to also remember too that it could be a bad batch. So for example, a batch of consoles, let's say the PlayStation 5, let's say Sony got delivered memory which just doesn't work. Maybe it could be like, I don't know, problems with the NAND, or maybe GDDR6, or the Xbox, same thing. Maybe there was a batch from TSMC of the SoC that was manufactured, and it just rarely crashes. Just really rarely it crashes. That obviously sucks if you happen to get one of those systems. It really does, and I feel bad for you. My Series X so far has been rock solid. I've not had any problems, hardware or software related. The console has been quiet. It's been fairly cool, even under load. Going close to the system, running Assassin's Creed, muted on the TV. I can't hear the system ramp up, really. Warm air coming from the top. But of course, that's kind of the point of cooling solutions. It is supposed to pull cool air from the rear of the system and then obviously funnels it up throughout the console, and then the hot air is expelled because the job of the cooling solution is to pull the heat away from the chip itself. Whether this is going to be the case in, let's say, a couple of months' time, 6 months' time, or whether I'm going to make a video and be like, guys, my Xbox is dead. Hopefully my PlayStation 5 as well is good. I literally already have the games, or a couple of the games for it. I've got... well, that was a game that fell on the floor. Whatever. I've got Spider-Man and Demon's Souls, so R.I.P. me, who's unable to play them so far. And hopefully those games, the PlayStation 5, will be fine when I get it on Thursday. It seems that my pre-order is okay, and honestly, until I get the system, holding it in my hand, I'll have some level of skepticism. But for me, hopefully, my consoles will be okay, and hopefully your systems will be good too, no matter which one you go with. And consoles falling over is nothing new. We've had problems with graphics cards, like RX 5000 series, there were some dead cards. The RTX 20 series, there were memory problems with some of them. I don't know about the 30 series, I think there was a few problems with some of them, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's normal churn. You're occasionally going to receive a dead CPU, or a dead memory kit, or a dead console, or something will happen, and you can just be unlucky. You know, it could even be that some people have had like a power surge in the home while the system was updating. Again, I'm not blaming anyone, I'm just saying that we don't have enough information to know how widespread this is. My personal opinion thus far is just get your system, plug it in, hope for the best that it turns on. Also, I hope that it actually turns up in the first place, and just play games. And with any luck, you won't have any issues. Obviously, it makes things a little trickier at the moment with current world situations, like here in the UK we're in lockdown, which makes it a lot harder to actually return the console. But honestly, even if it wasn't, obviously, there's going to be like a turnaround period for the PlayStation or Xbox anyway to get them repaired if there is a problem. But yeah, I'm not really convinced at this point that we've seen anywhere near enough evidence to call this a widespread problem. I would say that we have a problem. There's definitely evidence that both systems were released a bit too early. The PlayStation 5, like great examples of that, is when Sony are releasing statements like, we wanted to focus on TV. Like, okay, but why didn't you also put in 1440p support for monitors? And I know that may not be a popular thing for me to criticise, but I don't really feel that that's something that they had to prioritise. Like, why can't they have both? The SSD, there was no support for externals on launch, and again, I do understand that you can plug like an external drive onto the system. At the moment, they're on a ton of games, but the install sizes of like Demon's Souls is like 60 odd gigabytes. Spider-Man is absolutely huge. Call of Duty is absolutely huge, and it's not going to take long before you quickly start to fill up that internal space. And I think actually launching with that fixed, and the Xbox has got its own litany of problems as well, like with Dolby and all of that. So to me anyway, both systems clearly, I wouldn't say that they were undercooked, but there were definitely features that were not 100% ready for when they shipped them. And that is just how consoles often are shipped. Like, I remember the Xbox 360 and PS3 both were receiving updates quite consistently at launch, adding new features to the dashboard and all of this stuff. And yeah, it just kind of is what it is. But I'm not that worried at this point. I would say just get your console, play it, enjoy it, and you should be good to go. Do let me know though in the comments below, or you can tweet me. Obviously, my social media is linked as well. If you are experiencing problems with either console, let me know. We can kind of figure stuff out. I would also like to discuss one other small thing just to end the video on a positive note, and it's a blog post from Xbox themselves. They call this the biggest launch in Xbox history. Liz Hamron has written a fairly lengthy blog post, and she wants to thank us all for the launch of the Xbox Series X and S being the most successful debut in their history. They've said that just the bullet points here that more new consoles sold than any prior generation, with the Series S adding to the highest percentage of new players for the Xbox console at launch. More games played, 3,594 total spanning all 4 generations, setting a record for the most games ever played in the Xbox console launch, and next gen means new ways to discover and play. 70% of Series X and S consoles are attached to new and existing Game Pass members. And of course, she wants to also add that including delivery of more than 40 new and optimized games like Valhalla, Destiny 2, Beyond Light, Dirt 5, The Falconer, Tetris Effect Connected, Watch Dogs Legion, Yakuza Like a Dragon for players to play on day one, 30 of which support smart delivery. And she also adds that she knows that not everyone was able to get a Series X or S immediately, and are working tirelessly with their partners around the world to bring as many new consoles to as many of you as possible over time, and also wish to encourage you to check out your local retailers directly for more details on availability in your region. Your early reaction and excitement for the next generation Xbox has us feeling grateful and energized to continue building the future of gaming with you. So on behalf of Team Xbox, thank you. And I think that's really cool. I'm very happy that Xbox have had a very successful launch. It seems to be also very popular in Japan as well. Again, that's really good news going forward for Microsoft, but I also feel that it's great news as well for us as gamers, because at the end of the day, competition is only ever a really good thing, and I really want Microsoft and Sony to kick butt next generation, because obviously that just means that we as customers get much better choice. With all of that said, thank you very much for watching the video. The normal stuff, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.